Hello, my name is Jonny Benjamin, and I'm a mental health campaigner, a writer, and a filmmaker. And this isn't my room. Just to say, I wish this was my bedroom. It's not. The bed's amazing. I'm in a hotel currently doing a book tour. So my book came out recently, and I'm a big supporter of the Mix. I'm a huge fan of the Mix and everything they do. And for me, I really struggled with my mental health growing up, and I wish I'd have had something like the Mix when I was really in a bad way. My mental health issues started really young. I was 5 when I first went to see a child psychologist, and just growing up, I struggled. I struggled. I always felt really different. I never fitted in school. I felt really out of place, and I had different symptoms growing up. I heard a voice. I was delusional. Um, and then when I was in my mid-teens, the depression hit, and that was awful. It was really hard, but I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it because I was embarrassed, and I was really ashamed, and I was scared. I remember being really scared of what would happen if I spoke. If I spoke about everything going on in my head. I thought there was cameras watching me. Um, I was hearing the voice of what I thought was the devil. It was telling me to do things. Yeah, it was really difficult, but I carried on, and I put on a mask, and I tried to push through. But when I eventually went to university, everything just kind of spiraled out of control, and I had a breakdown, and I became really unwell when I was 20. I became psychotic, and I was put into a psychiatric hospital. And then I was given my diagnosis, which is schizoaffective disorder. So it's a combination of schizophrenia and bipolar. Um, and yeah, I thought my life kind of suddenly ended at that point. I just didn't see, I couldn't see me getting any better. I thought that was it. Um, I was going to be ill for the rest of my life, and I ran away from the hospital. I wanted to take my life because, as I said, I'd run out of hope and faith that I would get better. So I just thought, what's the point? But luckily, I was stopped by a very kind stranger who came over to talk to me and gave me hope, essentially. And he said two things that really made the difference. He said, "Don't be embarrassed," because I was so embarrassed about all the stuff in my head. I was struggling with my sexuality as well. I'm gay, and I just couldn't deal with that. It's just for someone to say, "Don't be embarrassed." That really helped massively. And then the other key thing he said to me was, "You'll be all right. You'll get better." No one had said that to me before. I didn't hear those words from anyone, and I needed to hear that from someone because I didn't believe it in myself. And yeah, that changed things for me. That interaction, and I came off. I came off the point where I was. I got taken away by the police and taken away, and I was sectioned. And things did change from that point. I felt more hope. I felt more positive. It took a long time to finally get back on track, and all of my early 20s were spent in my head. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to address it. I didn't want to take medication. I didn't want therapy. I just couldn't come to terms with it. But it was in my mid-20s when I finally started talking, and I started making videos, YouTube videos, to help me to talk. It was easier talking to the camera than looking into someone's eyes. And that helped massively. And that got me to talk, finally, to people around me. And eventually I said I was gay and I had mental health issues. And I remember the weight that came off my shoulders. The weight literally came away from my shoulders when I was just myself, and I didn't have to hide anything anymore. And after that, I was reunited. I decided to look for that stranger that helped me, came along and helped me that day. And I decided to look for him, and we were reunited, and it turned into a documentary on Channel 4. And since then, it's been an extraordinary journey. And now myself and the stranger, we work together, we're friends now. And we go into places like schools and prisons and universities to talk, to share, to help others to talk. I still battle. I still battle. I'm not gonna lie. But now it's very different. It's very different. You know, I have my relapses. I go into hospital, but I'm in a different place. I'm more positive. I take my medication. I have therapy, and I talk, and that's the most important thing. Is talking. Is talking. And I wish I'd have talked when I was younger. I really wish I'd have talked. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, what goes on in here in the brain is no different to what goes on in other parts of the body, the lungs, the heart, the liver. No different. We're all joined up. I don't know why we separate mind and body. We're all joined up. My therapist always says to me, "This is not your fault. What goes on in your brain is not your fault." And I think that's a really important message. It's not your fault, and the brain is not you. You're more. You're more than your mental health. You know, you're more than that. I think most importantly, though, you can always overcome. Always overcome. When you're stuck in that place, you feel like you can't get out and you're trapped forever. You aren't. You aren't, and you can and you will overcome. But reach out and talk and get support and get help. And the mix are there, and yeah, just never feel alone.